Your Ride Back is on tonight.
I am happy. In fact, I'm thrilled to talk about the Clinton Foundation because it is a world-renowned charity.
Now, more information from the hackers shows that the Clinton Foundation is a sophisticated multi-million-dollar business as well as a charitable concern. Talking Points has the facts tonight.
Our campaign is about change, optimism, and the future.
Donald Trump enters the no-spin zone for an extensive interview. Does he still believe the upcoming election is rigged? That and other questions will be put to him.
What do you think the most important issue is facing the country?
Equal rights, feminism. That's very important nowadays.
Are you just saying this to get girls?
Also ahead, Waters talking to the kids about the election. Do they know more than the adults?
Our world's kind of going down because Hillary and Donald are kind of both messes.
Caution, you are about to enter the no-spin zone. Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. The Talking Points memo on new information about the Clinton Foundation will be in our third segment tonight, and it is worth hearing. We've uncovered some new information as well as now knowing what the hackers found out about the foundation. Please stay tuned for Talking Points. But first, the top story tonight, an interview with Donald Trump. Some polls say he is closing in on Hillary Clinton with 12 days to go before the vote. Mr. Trump joins us now from Ohio. So let's begin with the rigged business. How exactly do you think the election is rigged?
Well, the system is rigged, Bill. You look at the media, how horrible they are, how false they are, how negative they are toward me. I think 93% of the stories they write are like negative. Even if it's a positive story, they'll always find a way to make it negative. And, I'm not quite used to it because I used to get great publicity. Now, no matter what you do, it doesn't make any difference. But the system is rigged. And I think the biggest rigging of all is what's happened with the FBI and the Justice Department with respect to Hillary Clinton, because she is so guilty in so many different ways that she shouldn't even be allowed to run for president. So right there, the system is really rigged. She should not be allowed to run for president.
What about the vote itself? It's close in a lot of states here. It's very, very close. And a lot of your supporters are worried, and they write me that they think there might be nefarious things going on at individual polling places. Can you reassure him that that's probably not going to be the case? Will you do that tonight?
I can reassure him. I think things are going on that aren't good. And I think you look at Texas, a lot of calls were made from Texas, an incredible place. I love Texas. And the lines are massive. And they were talking about flipping, where they press a button and they press it for me and another name comes up named
But do we have
Hillary
any data
Clinton.
on that? Do we have any facts on that? Anybody can
No,
put
they just call
anything.
in. No, they call in. Actually, they called into Fox. Fox has received a lot of those calls.
Yeah, but
the other
I
thing
don't
is
have
you
any
look
hard
at
facts to back up any kind of wide conspiratorial way to
I've been
do
hearing
the
for
vote.
years. Bill, I've been hearing for years about Philadelphia, Chicago, St. Louis, lots of other places.
Yeah, there have
and
been
it's
documented
interesting.
things there. But on a mass
for years
level,
I've been hearing.
On a mass level, you don't believe that 120 million American votes that the thing's going to be dishonest. Do you believe that?
Well, I looked at Pew Research, highly respected, and there are 1.8 million people who are dead who are registered to vote, and some of those people vote. So I wonder how that happens.
All right.
There are 2.8 million. Wait a minute, Bill. There are 2.8 million people who are registered in 2 states. That's not so good. That means you vote in 2 states. I mean, there are things that are going on, Bill. I watched President Obama 8 years ago on Fox, actually, just the other night. But I watched President Obama 8 years ago talking about how Chicago is rigged. That's basically, he was doing it with a wink, but he was essentially saying that the elections in Chicago are rigged.
City. Now, mentioning President Obama.
Well, he actually said it happened.
Here's what his wife said today in North Carolina. Go.
When you hear folks talking about a global conspiracy and saying that this election is rigged, understand that they are trying to get you to stay home. They are trying to convince you that your vote doesn't matter, that the outcome has already been determined and you shouldn't even bother making your voice heard. They are trying to take away your hope.
What do you think about that?
Well, her husband did it 8 years ago. Her husband said basically those same words 8 years ago, complaining about the system in Chicago and laughing about it. And I think he says something to the effect like he's lucky he's in Chicago because it's rigged in his favor. Well, take a look at it. I saw it on Fox, and I thought it was terrible, especially since now he's holier than thou, and, you know, like a thing like this could never happen. But go back 8 years when he was running for the first time, and you'll see some pretty nasty statements.
Her message is that you're undermining the desire of people to vote. Do you buy that?
I think the opposite. In Florida, there are lines that are record lines. They've never had anything like it, 4 blocks long to vote. In other places, I hear in different places, I'm hearing reports that are incredible. I hope they're voting for me, but I think they're voting for me. They have a lot of Trump caps on, that I can tell you. But they have record lines. So we're going to see what happens.
Right.
I am right now in Ohio,
yep.
And I'll tell you what. It's incredible, the enthusiasm and the crowds and the whole thing. It's incredible.
Yeah, you're slightly, according to polls, you're slightly out in front in Ohio. Now, do you believe the polls are rigged? Do you think certain news organizations and other organizations, when they poll, have their thumb on the scale and they want Hillary Clinton to come out on top in the poll? Do you believe that?
Oh, absolutely. I have no doubt about it.
Which one?
I won the third debate. Easily. It wasn't even a contest. And everybody had me winning. Every poll had me winning big league. And then CNN did a poll, and they had me losing somewhat. And I said, how did that happen? I wonder. And then there were other polls that were, look, I mean, I'm winning in certain polls. And then in other polls, the dirty polls, we call them, I was losing by you know, numbers that were ridiculous.
Yeah, I have all the polls here.
I mean, I think we're winning, but Bill, you look at some of these polls, it's absolutely ridiculous.
But are there
down.
any in particular that you think are dishonest? Any polling in particular? I mean, the AP has got you down. The AP has got you down by 14.
Well, AP.
14.
Well, AP treats me very badly. And by the way, ABC had me down at 12, which was ridiculous. And now I hear at ABC we're down by very, very little.
Well,
because,
that's a tracking poll.
Were made by a lot of people.
ABC latest tracking poll has Clinton up by 6. I'm sorry, 6. Fox News poll.
No, well, now it's much lower than that. But how do you go from 12 down to 2 and 3
I don't know.
in a day or two?
I can barely add to 20.
No, look, these polls.
I don't know.
These polls. Look, the only one I really like are the ones where I'm winning. But these polls.
You're honest with it.
These polls are definitely. Right. Hey, Bill, something's going on. Bill, something's going on with the polls. And what they do, it's called suppression.
Okay, but if something's going on, it's incumbent upon all responsible politicians in this country to get the facts and present the facts, because speculation can erode spirit and can erode credibility of the election. So that's my position.
Well, I think it's very unfair. And it's polls, whether it's polls for the debates where I won the debates or if it's polls for something else. I mean, there's tremendous dishonesty in the polls. I've never seen anything like it.
All right, well,
tremendous
we
dishonesty.
got to find that. We're definitely, the day after the debate, the election, we're going to analyze who was accurate and who wasn't.
Well, that's the poll that matters. That's the only poll that matters.
We're going to hold you over. I want to talk a little Obamacare with you. And then the Talking Points memo, more information about the Clinton Foundation, some of it troubling. Factors coming right back.
What's in your wallet?
Continue now with Mr. Trump, who is in Ohio this evening. Now, we'll get to Obamacare in a moment. I got one more question about the campaigning. Do you believe you would be ahead if not for the Access Hollywood stuff?
I just don't know. I think it was very negative. It was locker room talk. The microphone was not supposed to be on. Not that I make that as an excuse for myself, but certainly it was an illegal act that was NBC. It was not supposed to be on.
You think it was illegal what they did, putting that tape out?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, that was a private locker. You know, that was a private dressing room. Yeah, that was.
Are you going to take any action after the election against NBC?
Well, you'll see. You'll see.
You know,
you're going to see after the election. But I will tell you. First of all, shouldn't have been. But it was. You know, it was locker room talk. And, yeah, I mean, you know, we're going to find out soon enough, I will tell you.
All right. Obamacare, not doing well. I think any measure, any fair-minded person would say a lot of Americans are getting hurt. They have to pay more for their premiums, more deductibles. They're getting their choices of doctors filed down. It doesn't seem, though, that the Democratic base, which wanted Obamacare so much, cares. They don't seem to care. You don't see an outrage building on the left about Obamacare. I'm wondering if you know why that is.
I think they care. I think people care. I think people are getting wiped out. The state of Arizona, which is just an amazing place. I'm going there in 2 days. The great state of Arizona, 116% increase. I think they're going to care when they actually see the bills start pouring in. And the numbers they gave, 24, 25% increase, I don't believe that. I think the minimum is going to be 40% and 50%. Yeah, I think the people are going to care.
All right. Can you tell me simply, because I'm a simple man and have trouble grasping complicated situations. You say you're going to revoke and replace Obamacare. I know you want to have insurance companies compete nationwide and no boundaries, and that would drive premiums down. What else? What else? Are you going to subsidize 30 million people who can't afford insurance? Are you going to help them out?
I like the concept of health care savings accounts. I think it's great. You must get rid of the boundaries between the states so that we have competition, because right now you'll have competition.
But what about the
one insurance company or two?
One of the reasons the Obamacare thing is going through the roof is because there are 30 million Americans that have trouble doing anything. They can't work, they don't work, whatever, and now the Obama administration is giving them free health care. Will you continue that?
All right. So, I view it as two groups. I mean, the people that can afford it, it will be much lower, much better, much lower price, and really phenomenal. There'll be tremendous competition. And by the way, there'll be plans that you're not even talking about right now because the competition will make great plans, but much lower price, much better. Now, you're going to block grant Medicaid to the states, and they're going to take care of the people that cannot take care of it.
Okay, so the states really get the responsibility to do that, not the feds.
Absolutely. You block grant to the states, the Medicaid, and it'll work out so much better than what we have right now.
Maybe.
This is a nightmare. Hey, Bill, I have friends that are doctors. They have more accountants than they have nurses. They're going to leave. They don't even want to be doctors anymore.
I've never been a big fan of government health care. Now, finally, you say that Hillary Clinton is pooped. She's tired. She can't. What are you saying now about her? She's exhausted or what? I didn't quite understand.
I think she is very low energy. I think we need somebody with extreme energy.
Who's lower energy, Jeb Bush or Hillary Clinton?
Well, I'm not sure. That's pretty close, but I would probably say Hillary.
All right,
I saw her after the second debate, and she could barely make it to the car.
Yeah.
This is not what we want. Hey, Bill, this is not what we want, to negotiate with China, to beat ISIS, to work against Putin, okay? This is not what we want.
Well, her birthday was yesterday.
Who knows?
She's 69,
let's see what happens.
though.
I think we're doing very well.
Yeah, she's okay. She's all over
I don't care. Look, there's something going on, and I don't know what's happening, but I can tell you this is she goes away for 3, 4, 5 days, and she doesn't leave the house, and then she comes back. And the interesting thing is I had 8 stops over the last day. And funny, she said, yesterday we opened a great hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue. I went to cut a ribbon real quick. She said, Donald Trump is off the path, okay? Off the path. Give me a break. It's probably the first time I've done anything outside of this, like in a month. But, I wanted to check on the work. We built a great hotel. By the way, under budget, ahead of schedule. That was one of the reasons I wanted to be there. Under budget, and ahead of schedule. This country does not do that.
All right.
And
we really appreciate it. We know how busy you are. It's fine. I hope you'll come back next week, the last week, and talk to us again, Mr. Trump. Thank you very much.
I will.
All right.
I will. Thank you, Bill. Thank you.
Directly ahead. Hackers releasing new information about the Clinton Foundation, and the Factor has been investigating as well. You will want to hear what we have come up with. Then later, Waters talking to the kids about the presidential election. Don't miss it. Up ahead.
I'm Trace Gallagher at the Breaking News Desk in Los Angeles. There is breaking news out of New York. Word from New York's LaGuardia Airport this hour that a plane carrying Republican vice presidential candidate Mike Pence has now slid off the runway. That is a live look at what's going on right now. You can see the ambulances and fire trucks on scene. There was nobody hurt on crew, but emergency crews are there to assist people getting off the plane. This happened, as you can see, on the runway on a very wet night at LaGuardia Airport. Mike Pence later reported seeing mud on the windows near the front of the plane, and one of Fox News Channel's producers, Dan Gallo, was actually on board that plane, and he describes it as the following. He says, says, quote, "We have slid off the runway at LaGuardia. It was the craziest landing I've ever experienced." He goes on to say, "We seem to be sliding for the distance of the landing, and then a burning smell became obvious like rubber." Pence then came back to make sure everyone was okay. Nobody is injured. Pence said again that he saw mud on the windows at the front of the plane, and they are waiting at the time for emergency personnel to arrive at the plane. Again, we are trying to get Dan Gallo on the phone. As far as we know, they are all still on board that plane, making sure that everyone is okay. Again, as far as we know, there are no injuries. Mike Pence has been traveling for the campaign on a 737. We all know those. Southwest Airlines flies nothing but 737s. A lot of other airlines as well. This one configured differently, though, to bring media along. Keep in mind that it is raining in LaGuardia tonight, and the plane apparently did slide as it was landing. Mike Pence was doing campaign rallies today in the battleground state of Ohio. There were no injuries. Emergency personnel will go to the plane, make sure everybody's okay. You can see on the right-hand side or the left-hand side of your screen what appears to be steps coming out. And again, it's our understanding that if they have gotten off the plane, it was only moments ago. We are working the breaking news. We'll continue to bring you updates on this as they come in. We now have... Okay, we had Dan Gallo on the phone. We're trying to get him back. As soon as we get him back, we'll bring that to you. A little bit more coming into us now at the breaking news desk. Dan Gallo is on the phone. Dan is a Los Angeles producer who's been covering the campaign for Mike Pence. Dan, if you can, I read the statement you gave us. Give me an idea of what happened as you were coming in for landing.
Well, Trace, first off, I'd say that this plane has kind of been known for its rough landings, and people have kind of joked that maybe it was a Navy pilot, and I think Navy pilots maybe are known for landing on carriers that are a little bit different. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's just kind of been the joke because we've had a lot of rough landings where it felt like we landed more than once. You know what I mean? So tonight, when we hit the ground, it felt like we just weren't slowing down, and it felt like the brakes were really jammed on the whole time, the whole distance of the runway. And you know, you couldn't really see outside, so you couldn't really see how fast we were going or where we were. And in fact, when we finally came to a stop, I couldn't tell if we were on the grass or on the runway, but we stayed put for a good long while, and it kind of became obvious that something was askew. The smell of burnt rubber was very obvious, I'd say, at some point as we were landing, and that kind of tipped us off that something wasn't right. After, I guess, maybe 2 minutes, Governor Pence came back and checked on all of the reporters in the back of the plane. He seemed to be fine. He said he saw mud on the front windows of the plane, and that's the first point I realized that I guess we're in the grass, not the runway.
Yeah, it's amazing, Dan. As you look at these pictures, we're looking at live pictures now of the 737 that you have been on now for several months. And I'm curious, give us an idea, Dan, when people who have never flown on a press plane before, it's not exactly the same setup. You don't have flight attendants. Was there anybody, as you came in, on what you appear to say was a hot landing? Was there anybody giving you instructions on what to do or what was happening as the plane was kind of sliding down the runway?
No, Trace, I got to say everyone sort of took it all as it happened. There wasn't really anything. I mean, you're moving at a really fast speed. I don't think that a flight attendant would have even had time or the ability to reach over because, you know, for several seconds of uncertainty, you're trying to figure out what's happening, and it's not a time when people are going to get out of their seat and start, you know, yelling instructions at passengers. The plane itself, by the way, you mentioned a lot of people haven't been in a plane like this. It's not, you know, it's not unlike any other 737 that you've flown in, except that, you know, it's all kind of business class seating. So there's more space and everything. There's less seats in the plane. Yeah, I can't say that anybody really knew what was happening until really it ended. Maybe people who know more about flying than I do, but it was a heck of an experience.
And Dan, and when you say when it ended, how did it end? I mean, you say you're going down the runway, and then at some point it appears you went off the runway and hit some mud. So what was the feeling like? Was it a sudden jolt to a stop? Was it kind of a slow stop? What did it feel like as you came to the end of that runway?
Hell, I guess it's a little tough to remember exactly everything, but it felt like it was a pretty sudden stop once we finally did come to a stop. And I don't know if that was wheels getting stuck in the mud. I mean, we didn't go that far off of pavement from what I could tell once we got off the plane. It did appear to me that there was, and maybe you can see this on your pictures, but it appeared to me that some of the pavement was broken up on the actual runway. And I don't know if that was a result of us or if that had already been there. And frankly, I don't know this tarmac real well. I don't know if this was how far off we were. I don't know if we slid 20 feet or 100 feet, to be honest with you. I just know we didn't hit the target.
Yeah, it's fascinating as we watch these live pictures coming out of LaGuardia Airport from our Fox affiliate there, WNYW. Dan Gallo, stand by. I just want to kind of update people who are just joining us, hoping to see the O'Reilly factor. Mike Pence, the GOP VP nominee, his plane coming in from Ohio has slid off the runway in LaGuardia, a 737. It was coming in as 737s do approximately 120, 130 miles per hour, raining in LaGuardia, and it slid off the runway. Dan Gallo, a producer for Fox News Channel, was on board that plane. And quickly, Dan, we don't have much time left, but give me an idea of how many people were on board that plane and if anybody was shaken up. About 15 seconds, Dan.
Yeah, Trace, everybody seemed to be fine. Everybody kind of seemed to be in awe of what we just gone through. There's roughly maybe 40, 45 people, including Secret Service, campaign staff, and the media, along with the flight staff.
Yeah. All right, Dan Gallo, we'll back to you. Listen, breaking news as it comes in. We'll update you on the story out of LaGuardia Airport. Mike Pence's plane off the runway, the O'Reilly factor.
Happy.
I'm Trace Gallagher, and there is breaking news out of New York's LaGuardia Airport. Mike Pence, the GOP VP nominee, his plane, a 737 coming in from Ohio, has slid off the runway at LaGuardia's airport. Our producer, Fox News Channel's Dan Gallo, was on the airplane. We just spoke to him moments ago. He said in his statement that he said the plane slid off the runway. It was the craziest landing he'd ever experienced. He said they seemed to be sliding for the distance of the landing, and the burning smell became very obvious, like rubber. Pence came back to make sure everyone was okay. Nobody's injured. Pence said that he saw mud on the windows at the front of the plane. Again, nobody was injured. Emergency crews did respond to the scene. Everybody is now off board the aircraft, and there appears to be no damage to the airplane. Updates as they come in. Now back to the O'Reilly factor.
True Serum segment tonight. Some very good news for National Guard soldiers who live in California. As you may have heard, the Department of Defense made a number of mistakes handing out bonuses to soldiers who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. When those mistakes were uncovered, the Pentagon, incredibly, ordered some of the recipients of the money to pay back the bonuses, putting a horrendous burden on them and their families. On Monday, we told you that would not stand. Yesterday, Defense Secretary Carter said this.
I've ordered the suspension of all efforts to collect reimbursement from affected California Guard members. And that suspension will continue until I'm satisfied that our process is working.
All right, that means the suspension will continue forever. With us now here in New York City, our Truth Serum correspondents, Eric Shawn in our newsroom and Shannon Breen. So why did Carter change his view? Did I frighten him, Eric?
Bill? Yes. Media pressure. Los Angeles Times broke the story, caused outrage. You did a major segment on Monday. Then, as you noted, on Wednesday, he suspends this program. I mean, it's outrageous. 13,600 members of the California National Guard got these bonuses. Pentagon goes after 2,000 of them to claw back, to get the money back. You're talking about tens of thousands of dollars. They impose tax liens, wage garnishes. Wow. This really put pressure. Let me just tell you about one guy, 42-year-old Army captain, injured by IED in Iraq. He had to pay back $46,000. It really was horrendous.
And I hope they give him back the money. Now we're going to have to go on that. So how long was this out of control before the L.A. Times found out about it?
Well, the first reports actually started bubbling up in 2010 about this, and it wasn't until it really started with the Los Angeles Times report and yours and other media reports.
Well, let's give the L.A. Times full credit for breaking the story because I reacted off them. So this had been going on for 5 or 6 years before the Times got involved and then broke it national. Right?
Yeah, and also then that started with members of Congress. I talked to Duncan Hunter, Congressman of California.
He's been very good. Right.
He said this was just outrageous. He says sometimes the Department of Defense, he makes, his words, boneheaded decisions, dumb decisions, and he wants to know who exactly, by name, authorized this at the Department of Defense. He doesn't know about that yet. They're calling for congressional hearings to investigate, to see about this.
All right, where we are now is that no more bonus money is going to have to be paid back, but the soldier that you just told us about who paid more than $40,000, he's got to get that money back because that's wrong. So let's keep in that, and we'll try to iron the whole things out. If the Pentagon, the federal government makes a mistake, soldiers shouldn't have to pay for that mistake. Eric, thank you. We'll check back with you on the story in a few weeks. Now let's go over to Ms. Bream, who's been looking into a WikiLeaks exposition showing that a Clinton campaign chairman had multiple dinners with a top Justice Department official during the Hillary Clinton email investigation. What is this all about?
Well, we all know about John Podesta. He is the one who has been hacked by WikiLeaks, and he is very tight with the Clintons. This goes far beyond just Hillary Clinton's campaign. He has a long history with Bill Clinton as well. But while the investigation was going on, he was having dinners and meetings and emails with Peter Kadzik, who is a Justice Department official.
So Podesta himself was having meetings and dinners with this guy, Kadzik, who's in the Justice Department, while Hillary Clinton's being investigated.
Correct. Now, it is notable that they were in law school together in Georgetown in the 1970s.
All right, they're pals.
And you know how it is in Washington. People know each other. Your paths cross quite a bit.
This looks bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, from the outside, it doesn't look good. Now,
what does Kadzik do, though? Who is he?
He wasn't directly involved, directly in line with the investigation that was happening, but as the Assistant Attorney General for Legislative Affairs, he does a lot of coordination with requests that came in from Congress.
Yeah.
That includes a request by Republican lawmakers who wanted a special prosecutor appointed because they wanted somebody from the outside looking at this, and he denied that request.
Bad. So you got Loretta Lynch meeting with Bill Clinton
on the plane.
Tarmac. You got this Justice Department guy meeting with Podesta during the investigation. And then you have a bunch of FBI stuff that they haven't explained, and I don't think they can explain. So it's just, nobody has confidence in this, except for Hillary Clinton. She has confidence, but nobody.
She feels good.
All right, Shannon, thank you very much. We come right back. Americans endorsing either Clinton or Trump. Does it matter? And if you come out for Trump, will you be punished? Bernie Goldberg, moments away.
Minutes, Fox News headlines 24/7, channel 115. The O'Reilly Factor, the #1 cable news show for 16 years and counting.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly. In the Weekdays of Bernie segment tonight, endorsements. This week, former Secretary of State Colin Powell said he would vote for Hillary Clinton. Powell once described himself as a Republican, but that has not been the case for years. He voted for Barack Obama and now Mrs. Clinton, his privilege. Question is, do endorsements actually mean anything? As you may know, most Hollywood types favor Secretary Clinton, with the exceptions of people like Kirstie Alley, Hulk Hogan, Kid Rock, and, wait for it, Dennis Rodman. They favor Trump. Joining us from Boston, Bernie Goldberg. So I say these endorsements, particularly with two high-profile people like Trump and Clinton, they don't mean anything. You say?
I say that it doesn't happen often, but in this case, you're 100% correct.
Okay, good.
Yeah, endorsements matter if you're selling basketball shoes, if you're selling sneakers. That's why you want LeBron out there or Michael or Steph Curry, because they actually do have an effect. They increase sales. Politics is different. I dug out what I think is a very interesting statistic. In the beginning of January of this year, when the primary season began, the Republican with the most endorsements, more than all the other candidates, was Jeb Bush, right? How did that work out?
Right.
The candidate who didn't have a single endorsement from a sitting governor or senator, Donald J. Trump.
Right.
So endorsements don't matter. There's one area, Bill.
Right, go ahead.
There's one area where a celebrity endorsement can matter. You know when Miley Cyrus and Katy Perry were out campaigning the other day on a college campus for Hillary Clinton? I spoke to a very bright young woman in L.A. who's in marketing and neuroscience marketing, which means she studies the brain. And she said, those two celebrities aren't going to convince anybody to vote for Hillary. They're already going to vote for Hillary. But if you make a promise to a celebrity that you like, if you make a promise that you'll actually go out and vote, then you're more likely to actually go out and vote.
I think there's one other thing.
So in that sense, it helps. But in the other areas, you're right.
Yeah,
help.
LeBron James endorsed Hillary Clinton, and I think in certain precincts that might help in Cleveland that he did that. Now, we're getting a lot of reports, and they're anecdotal, that people with Trump signs on their lawn or bumper stickers, they're getting vandalized. And I'm sure maybe it's the same on the other side, but I haven't heard on the other side. But these reports. So I'm saying to myself, you know, if you do come out and you support Donald Trump, you're going to be scorned in some areas.
Well, let's start out with one area, Hollywood.
Yeah.
If you're a conservative and you come out vocally and publicly for Donald Trump, you're going to have a problem. There are more conservatives in Hollywood, by the way, than most people realize, but they're in the closet.
Yeah, you're not expecting then Scott Baio to get a series next year. It's not going to happen.
That was cold. That was cold.
No, I mean, Baio's a talented guy. It's a legitimate question. You know, Chachi goes political or something. You're not expecting that.
Right. But on the yard signs where you're going to get a rock thrown through your window if you have a Trump yard sign. Look, I'm not blaming Trump for this, but he has a knack of, I mean, he makes liberals crazy. I mean, it's simple as that.
Hateful.
But on the other side, you know, Trump supporters have said, these are their words, not mine, that there's going to be a revolution if Trump loses. Revolutions can be... Now, wait a second.
Let's see.
Revolutions can be peaceful, and sometimes they're not peaceful.
No.
I'm not betting 10 cents on which way it's going to go if they think Trump got the election stolen.
Right.
Well, okay, on both sides, right?
But I think if you come out for Trump, there's a better chance that you're going to be scorned than if you come out for Clinton. Just
well, let's see what happens
right.
if Trump loses. Let's see what happens after the election.
I would be very disappointed if anybody did anything untoward. Bernie, thank you. Waters on deck. He's talking to the kids about the presidential election. Do they know more than the adults? Waters is next.
Saves that life.
Back in the big segment tonight, Waters World. I think over the years we have proven beyond a reasonable doubt that some American adults don't know anything and don't care to know. What about the kids? Many schools are frightened to discuss politics or even this year's presidential election. So we sent Waters out to talk to the urchins.
President Obama's term is almost up. What'd you think?
I think he did really good. I'm honestly kind of...
Really well.
I'll keep that in mind.
I'm actually going to be sad. I've been with Obama since I was like in the 2nd grade.
President Obama's term is almost over. How do you feel about that?
Amazing. Feel great.
What'd you think about the debates?
I thought they were very entertaining, not very informative as they should be.
What do you guys know about Hillary Clinton?
I know that Donald Trump thinks that she's wrong.
Wrong.
What have you heard about Hillary Clinton?
Well, she hasn't been that great either. She's been sneaking herself around.
I just don't like her because the way she acts, like she be talking too much and she's boring.
Okay, so that's how it's gonna be.
She's a liar. Emails, just dishonesty.
Hillary would be the best candidate.
I think she's above the law. What have you heard about Donald Trump?
I've heard a lot of things about Donald Trump, especially with building a wall, keeping immigrants out.
Illegal immigrants.
I mean, I do like the immigration policy. All of my friends say it's racist, that I'm a racist for agreeing with it. Also, I'm Russian, so I agree with a lot of the stuff he says about Putin.
Whatever he hits, he destroys.
What have you heard about Donald Trump?
Those are what
high school boys say.
I don't think so.
The way he talks about women, he's not really fit for president.
He's very confident when he speaks. He's blunt, and I think that's very different than anything we've ever had.
I've seen worse.
What do you think the most important issue is facing the country?
Everything's expensive. If I was president, everything would be cheap.
I'd vote for that.
Equal rights, you know, feminism. That's very important nowadays.
Are you just saying this to get girls?
No,
Tell me what you think Democrats stand for.
They stand up for the people. They don't care about money so much.
Except Hillary.
You know, you kids got me in a mess.
What do Republicans stand for?
Well.
I don't think Republicans know either anymore. What do Republicans stand for?
High class, a lot of money, very rich. Might not date one. I need to date one.
You got spunk.
Do the teachers in school talk about the election or not?
Nope. The teachers in my school, since they're like white, like they voted for Trump, so like they be telling us why it's good to vote for Trump.
We're mostly just bashing Trump.
What have your parents told you about the election?
They've told me to not be like one-sided about the candidates.
You're so cute. Sweet kid.
Nobody knows about WikiLeaks, so it's crazy. Everybody knows about the littlest things Trump has done.
What are the anchors on the news saying about the race?
Well, lots of them are saying that like Trump is crazy or that Hillary's crazy, and I'm kind of scared.
We can stop now if you want.
If you guys could vote, who would you vote for?
Hillary Clinton. Is there anybody else besides them two that's doing?
You can write in Bernie Sanders.
Yep, Bernie Sanders.
You get a vote, and you get a vote, and you get a vote.
I like Hillary Clinton a lot.
Who would you vote for?
Trump.
He's the only man around here we can trust.
Do your friends give you a hard time since you're a Trump supporter?
Yeah, some of them do.
I hate to say it, but I think Trump is going to win.
Who do you think's going to win?
I think it's going to be a silent majority kind of thing.
What's your favorite show on Fox News? The O'Reilly Factor.
The O'Reilly Factor, yes.
Whose world is it?
Water's World.
I know, Ed. Life isn't always fair.
All right, here's Waters. So they were articulate, all those kids.
Smarter
right?
than some of the NYU students I just interviewed.
Listen, if you go in NYU to the kids, you got to go with the kids. Did you boot out any of the dopey kids? Or
No, we used every kid we had there. Every single one.
All right, good for the kids. Now, you excited about going out with Miller and me with the Spin Stops Here tour?
I hear ticket sales are through the roof after the announcement.
Once we said Waters was on the live show, and the ticket sales went,
oh, come on.
So Waters will be out there with us. We'll have some info a little bit later on, all right?
Yep.
Stick around so you know where you're going. Factor tip of the day, should we all be dancing? The tip, moments away. Factor tip today, should we be dancing in a moment? But first, good news for Killing the Rising Sun. My publisher, Henry Holt, just went back to press, running off about 100,000 more copies. Currently, we have 1.5 million in print. If you know anything about the publishing business, that is amazing. 1.5 million right now. The holidays coming up, Killing the Rising Sun will be a hot item. If you would like me to sign copies for gifts or for you, just go to BillO'Reilly.com now, because there will be a cutoff for those orders. Either that or my hand will fall off. Now the mail. Robert Elder, Warren, Oregon. Bill, if I were Trump, I'd never talk to you again. After the interview compilation you used, you deliberately picked moments that made him look bad. Phil Zalv, Morgan Hill, California. Nice compilation on Trump. Reminded me of where he stands and why he's running. So there you go. So, you know. Patty Marshall, Severna Park, Maryland. Bill, no candidate afraid of doing a face-to-face interview with you has ever won the presidency. In the past 20 years, that's true, Penny. Bush the Younger did a number of interviews with us. President Obama did 3. Hillary Clinton did 1 back in 2008. Claude Fragman, Montreal, Canada. Bill, if Trump has talked to you more than 40 times and Clinton has not come in, that is an indication of how they perceive you. Maybe, Claude. I think Mr. Trump knows he gets a fair shake here. Rigorous, but fair shake. Hillary Clinton was treated fairly in our interview in 2008, so I don't know what's holding her up. Dennis Abbey, Mannheim, Germany. If anyone thinks the election is going to be 100% shenanigans proof, they're living in La La Land. That is correct. No vote is perfect. Martin Minnie, Pretoria, South Africa. I see similarities between your election and ours. The ANC here is corrupt, but people vote for it anyway. Dr. Ronald Sawyer, Yarmouth, Maine. As a Tufts graduate, when they ask me to donate, I will say trick or treat. Ruth Webster, San Antonio, Texas. If I dress up like a ghost on the campus of Tufts, will I be offending dead people? Cindy Adler, Edison, New Jersey. Does Katie Pavlich think it's okay to dress up like Adolf Hitler for Halloween? That would offend Jewish students. Halloween can cause distress. Somebody's out of line, Cindy. We expect mature adults on college campuses to handle it. But saying that wearing a Mexican sombrero is offensive is insane. Robert Welsh, Puyallup, Washington. Happy times. We just bought tickets to see Miller, O'Reilly, and Waters in Tacoma. Will Jesse have a quiz for us? Most likely, Robert. The Spin Stops Here live tour rolls into the Tacoma Dome Saturday, March 25th. Omaha the day before at the CenturyLink Arena. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Friday, January 13th at the BOK Center. Reading, Pennsylvania, next night at the Santander Arena. Also, the theater at Westbury on June 17th. Tickets make great holiday gifts, which is why we're giving you a heads up now. Details on BillO'Reilly.com or at the box offices. And finally, tonight, the factor tip of the day. Hillary Clinton has cut back on her campaigning somewhat, but did find time on Tuesday to talk to a New York radio station, Power 105. You may not know this, I used to be a dancing machine. Factor tip of the day. That is it for us tonight. Please check out the Fox News Factor website, different from BillO'Reilly.com. Also, spout off about the Factor anywhere in the world, Riley at FoxNews.com. Name in town if you wish to opine. Word of the day comes from Karen Belsky. Do not be a quidnik when writing to the Factor. Quick, happy 70th anniversary of Mr. and Mrs. Eugene DeMar, Port Washington, New York. Way to go, guys. Thanks for watching us tonight. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Please always remember that the spin stops here. We are definitely looking out for you.